Hello everyone, it's the Grand Strategy Nerd, and today I bring to you an exciting game to play, which is Ultimate General Civil War. Now, I played Ultimate General Gettysburg about 6 months ago on the channel. I did a Union playthrough and I did a Confederate playthrough, and I love the game. The game is great. It has a little bit of quirks, but it was a good game. This game already seems like a good successor to Sierra Online and their phenomenal game, Civil War Generals 2, Grant Lee Sherman. Now, Civil War Generals, that was an alright game, but Civil War Generals 2 was a fantastic game. So I hope that we can experience the same thing. We're starting here on the title page because right off the bat, this game by Game Labs separates itself from all the other Civil War games that are out there. And I just want to point out that this is an early access still, but you can get it on Steam, and the link is below. Alright, so here we're going to start off on the campaign. A
house divided against itself cannot stand.
Now hopefully what you're hearing and what I'm talking over is a recording, a theatrical recording, you should say, of Abraham Lincoln's House Divided speech. And there's also other things that are going on, so hopefully you can hear it. Like I said, I've been having some issues with the audio. But it has just a little bit more flavor as to what's going on. But here we go, we're going to start. It says that you always dreamed to become a military officer like your father. It was your destiny to serve your nation in the battlefield and become a war hero. So we attended West Point. So we need to choose what we focused on at West Point. Could be a tactician. Man, I don't know why I messed that up. Tactician, strategist, or a logistician. Logistician? I don't know. Those are hard words to say for me. Anyways, we can focus on tactics, strategy, or logistics. Everything gives a +1 to army organization. But different reconnaissance, training, logistics. I'm going to go with the strategist on this one just to get a boost to training on that. Alright, so then after West Point, we graduated and were assigned to the Army. And what branch were we assigned to during the Mexican-American War? This took place in 1855, if I remember correctly. We can either be in artillery, which gives a +2 to logistics and +2 to medicine. In the infantry, which gives +3 to training and +1 reconnaissance, or it could be in the cavalry, which is +3 to reconnaissance and +1 to logistics. Now, historically, the cavalry was the most prestigious division that you could be in, or the most prestigious branch of the army, if you want to call it that you could be in. That's the highest post that you could hope to attain, was to be in the cavalry. But for this, let's say that we were... Let's go with cavalry on this one. You were a cavalry officer and took part in Scott's invasion. That would be Winfield Scott. You're valuable at reconnoitering and capturing of enemy soldiers played a major role in the outcome of the conflict. So after the Mexican-American War, what do we do afterwards? We could either be in the business, we could stay in the army, or we could go into politics. So in business, we get a +3 to economy, +1 to logistics, army, +3 to training, plus another bump up to army organization. For politics, a +3 to politics, +1 economy. So already you can see why this is such a great game. Look at this. We're going to have to deal with logistics. We're going to have to deal with economy. We're going to have to deal with training, with reconnoitering, with the army organization, with the politics of the war. All of this that you as a general are going to have to deal with. I mean, holy cow, is this awesome. So with that little caveat, what are we going to choose here? I think I'm going to go into business. That's more of a historical role. That's what most people did afterwards. And most people did not stay in the army. Actually, the army, the United States Army before the American Civil War was actually very, very small. It was mostly underfunded, a lot of garrison forces, but I think it was around 10,000 men. And you don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that it was around 10,000 men for the entire country. America did not believe in a heavy standing army, so most people went into business or into politics, but I'll do business here. After finishing your army career, you established a company. Your business was very successful and you made a lot of money. You get a +3 to economy and +1 to logistics. So now we need to choose a side. I actually had an ancestor that fought on the Union, so I'm very blasé about playing the Confederates too much, but I will do a Confederate playthrough of this. So let's go into the Union. The Southern states have declared a secession from the United States. You support the abolition of slavery, so you have no other choice but to support the Union. Well, that's not why everyone supported the Union. And actually they tried to make, even though slavery was the underlying issue as to why the Southern states seceded and formed the Confederate States of America, the main issue was who had the power in the country. Was it Washington, D.C., or was it the states? And that whole argument had been since the first Congress after the Constitution was written, but it really came to a head here with the abolitionist movement, with the rise of the Republican Party, and most especially the election of Abraham Lincoln to the presidency, where it was very much split, where the South voted for the Democratic Republican, or now we call them Democrats, and the North voted for the Republicans. Now, the Republicans at this time were a very liberal party. They were not, and the Democrats were considered the conservative party. So 150 years later, switch that around. That's where we find ourselves now in America, where the Republicans are the conservatives and the Democrats are seen as the liberals. Now, the Republicans really won because Missouri voted to go for a third party, for the Constitutional Union Party. It was 2 Missourians on the ticket. They voted they were basically, their whole plank was to run on the South not seceding. And only Missouri said, we're going to go with those 2 guys. Everywhere else, it was split along geographical lines, and it was split because of who had the power, not about slavery, even though that was the underlying reason as to the Confederacy and the Southern states did not believe that Washington could impose a law to abolish slavery because the states thought that that was their right to say whether or not that they could abolish slavery. You have the caning of Charles Sumner on the floor of the Congress by a Southern politician. He almost caned him almost to the brink of death, and Sumner was never the same afterwards. And then you have the firing on from Fort Sumter when firing on the Union ship, whose name escapes me, as they try to resupply. As you can tell, I know the Civil War very detailed. I have a history degree, so I know this very, very well. So we're going to go with the Union after all of that. And now we need to choose basically the what do I want to say, the difficulty level. I'm going to go with Brigadier General, no bonuses or penalties. And I just think that's what follows suit. Colonel just has way too much army strength and reputation drop, but we're going to go with Brigadier General. Let's enter my name, which is, of course, the Grand Strategy Nerd. So we have no politics, 3 economy, no medicine, 1 training, 1 army organization, logistics, and it's 2, and 3 reconnaissance. So we have a discount of 7.5, I don't know what that is, but a veteran cost of negative 2.5. I don't really know what these are, but we have trivial enemy info when we have plus 3 reconnaissance. That's a bit odd. But oh well, here we go. General, our main objective is to secure this small town and its railroad station. According to our scouts, the garrison should not exceed 3,000 soldiers. We must capture the town before rebel reinforcements arrive via railroad. It's advised to use your vanguard to clear the town's perimeter from skirmishers or other threats. The rest of your forces are en route and will arrive from the southwest. Assault the town when all your forces are present. Alright, so here we are, and already you can see why, one of the reasons why I love Ultimate General. This map is beautiful. One of the drawbacks of this game from Ultimate General Gettysburg is that there's only views now. You have a depth view, which is supposed to help us with terrain, but it doesn't. Now I can see that the terrain is here, but I can't really tell the terrain over here. I can tell that this slopes towards the river and then it comes a little bit back up. But what I loved about Ultimate General Gettysburg is that you could toggle on and off the elevation lines, and that's what helped gauge that's what really helped you gauge where the high ground was. On this, we don't have that. It's only this view, or it's the overhead view. So that's a bit of a drawback, especially when the terrain matters. If you're new to the Ultimate General series, all these trees, these elevation changes, these rocks, the fields, the fences, the houses, everything affects unit performance. If you're behind a fence, you're going to gain a defensive bonus. If you're in the trees, you're going to gain a coverage bonus and a defensive bonus. If you're higher than the other guy, you gain an attack bonus. Even though it just looks on, there's nothing to really show you. That's not hexes or anything, hexagons or anything like that. This all matters, and that's what I love. It's just so seamlessly woven into the fabric of this game. So we have a couple of choices here on what to do, and hopefully I remember it. I forgot my cheat sheet on the keyboard controls at my office, but hopefully this works. Now, one of the amazing things here that we have is that we can deal with here is that they instituted skirmishers into this game. Now, skirmishers were used in order to probe the enemy defenses, to probe the enemy lines, see where they were, so that the main body would not just be caught with their pants down, basically. Skirmishers and flankers were used primarily on the march. When they were marching down a road, they would have flankers in a box around the whole army. It would usually a regiment size, because a whole corps, usually one regiment would take it, and they would just be spaced out, probably five spaces between them, 5 steps between them, and they were basically the flankers. They were the get hit first. They were about 300 yards out. They would get attacked first instead of the main body getting attacked, so that the generals or the officers could respond to where the enemy was attacking them when they were on the march. So you can actually detach and reattach the skirmishers. Like I said, I hope I remember exactly how to do that. But if not, then we can bring back in the skirmishers with different with the buttons down here. So here's the skirmishers S. That's what I thought it was. I just totally forgot. All right, so let's send our skirmishers out, and we do that just by simply clicking and dragging. Now, one of the things here is that you saw I was trying to change their front. One of the things they changed, and I don't really like it, is it's a lot harder to issue the commands here. So you can see that I'm moving the air around by left clicking and holding down. So let's bring this around, and I'm going to go up to the high ground because I want to make sure that I don't get flanked. All right, so we're going to send the skirmishers up there, and then we have Stockton, who, can I click on him? I cannot. Oh, you got a little eye here. They have a Sharps Model 1855 carbine. I don't think they would have that. That's a really good rifle. I mean, it's a carbine, so it doesn't have long range, but they would still have rifled muskets. They wouldn't have carbines. The Corps has a 69 musket. Now that is, it's a Springfield 1842. This is a smoothbore musket. So it's a heavy thing. It's a huge gun. I've seen them before. It's a big gun. That's why the melee is so high, is because it's a huge heavy gun. It's a smoothbore. So it wasn't very accurate. But that's right. These skirmishers, they would not have carbines, but it is what it is. All right, so you see I'm changing the front again when I don't want to. I just want to. Come on. There we go. All right, so we're going to move them out this way. And we'll just see where it is. Now, here is my Corps headquarters and my little area of effect there. So we're going to just leave Zook where he is and see what we find. Well, they are going to move on their own a little bit, so we're going to have to deal with that. All right, General provides valuable bonuses. Yes, I know. Where are you going? And now this is a game you don't want to take quickly, mostly because it's real time here. So what we're doing, we're just going to stay here as our skirmishers head out, probe, see what's going on. Like I'm getting up there on my Corps. Oh, all right. So we have 200 men who are also skirmishers heading out here. So I'm going to just bring them up to here. And now they're probably able to see Stockton. But I'm going to kind of push the forces here. I can't go below them because then I'd get fire down upon me. So here we're going to see, oh, see, they're already starting to fire on me. Alright, so we make a change. I still wish they would have fixed, and I don't know how they could have done it, but I wish they would have actually put these into the actual movements of an army. So if you're in a company front, which is what they were in, that's which is a firing line, you can actually, there is a maneuver, it's, it's probably just moving by the left flank, where you would move from 2 rows into a column of 4, which is instead of being 2 rows and have the whole division you'd usually fight as, have the whole division out with a front rank and a rear rank, to present a widest possible front with the most amount of guns on the enemy. You can move into a column of 4s, which is 4 men abreast and just the whole company behind you, and that's how you would march, is in a column of 4. The roads weren't that big, so you couldn't march in a company front, and you wouldn't want to in the first place anyways, because a company front on books should have been 100 men. So 50 wide, that'd be really hard to keep in step and to keep the line. You'd always be wiggling, and if you've ever been in the military, you know you don't really want to have all that lack of organization there. So they'd put them into column of 4s. All you'd have to do is just march 4 abreast, and that was easier to deal with. All right, so we're going to probe here with Schaefer. My guy move a lot quicker than the army does. Oh man, hold. So one of the things here is stop. Why are you? No, just hold. There we go. Man. Looks like we have another group of skirmishers. I'm going to pull these guys back and use them over here. And we can send them to a run. It does wear them out. So one of the things here in the early access is it actually takes a while to get things, to change things. And why can't I go to a run here? I guess I can't just go to a run. It sometimes feels like the keys don't really work very well, I should say. So let's recall the skirmishers. Oh no, these aren't my skirmishers. I just sent out skirmishers. Well, that's not helpful. No, stop that. I have to wait for them deployed before I can reattach my skirmishers. Alright, so these are just a detached group here. Alright, so we're going to have Zook's skirmishers return to them. Alright, so... Man, I thought I had more of a leeway than that, but I guess I don't. Alright, so I want to stay up with the majority of my troops. Alright, let's see what's going on here. I want to fan out, present a wide front, so that I can basically probe where they are. I know that they have men up here, they have 2 men up here, 200 men up here, and there's the rest of them, 197. So I've already come into their firing line. As you can see, this very thin black line here, that is their firing arc. That's how far they can fire out. One of the things ranged attack is effective from equipped weapon and unit skills, but also from target's distance, altitude, and ground cover. Oh, is affected. Okay. Read more about it, and actually, because it's early access, if you click on this stuff, it doesn't actually do anything. So I've yet to add it, but that's okay. I can live with that. So we want to try to stay up with the group here. Now skirmishers, because they have carbines, remember they're not a very long distance weapon. And our reinforcements have arrived. Time to head to the town. Well, I haven't even engaged the enemy yet. But I have to wait for all of them to come over. One of the things, as I was going to say, and I'll show you when the reinforcements are there, and then I guess we'll end the video, is you can't select all and move all like you could with Ultimate General Gettysburg, which is pretty annoying because it takes a long time to move it. So usually now you just have to wait till they all come in, and they have their own set path that they're going to move, so we just need to wait for that. I just want to show you I have Stockton here. You see how he moved from out of from in this little meadow here into the forest, and their cover has risen. You see it keep on rising up to 100% cover now. Gives good morale, but it does lessen condition. The problem is that you're trying to move through trees, so that makes sense. And now Zook's supposed to be moving forward, but this is something else. Okay, it didn't do it this time. Sometimes when you try to move them forward when they're already firing, it doesn't do anything because the game already thinks that they're already firing. Alright, so you can see that Bristow and all of my reinforcements, that they came to a point and they stopped. So that's actually going to cause a bit of a problem, and I'll show you why once everything stops. We're just going to keep on. I'm actually going to change. No, I don't want to change. I'm going to change his face, his front. Come on. I don't know what Syl is doing here, but that's not good. Okay. So you see that everyone came on? We can select them all? That's fantastic, right? Now, if I try to move, if I'm going to try to left click and move them, it only selects one unit. Well, that's not helpful at all because they start stacking, and now you got to try to figure it out, and so you're just losing time. So there are some things that this needs to be needs work on, but overall, already my initial impressions, probably about 45 minutes I was able to put into this at work because, you know, it was at work. And then just my time here with this again. This is a vast improvement. It feels cleaner, even though it's in early access. It feels cleaner than Ultimate General Gettysburg, and it looks better. Ultimate General Gettysburg had a little bit of a cartoony look to it, and this kind of does still, but this feels much more crisp. Just the trees and the textures of the terrain, it just looks a little bit more professional, I guess I should say. So, as I said, this is where we're going to stop right now for the first episode here and my first impressions of it. Thank you all for watching it. Thank you for sticking with me here through 20 minutes or so of this. If this is your first time here, thank you very much. Click on that red subscribe button. Lets me know that I'm doing a great job and that you want to see more grand strategy games from me in the future. Also, feel free to leave a like. Leave your comments below. About anything really, about the game, about Ultimate General as a franchise, about your thoughts on the Civil War, or about how you're a history buff too. Whatever you want, leave it below, and don't forget to share this around the internet. Again, thank you all for coming. Until next time, good night and good luck.